Since Miller took over, they have a better record, a better winning percentage, and they've played better basketball under him. So what does that tell you about David Fizdale? Maybe he's not a good head coach. Maybe that's what tells you.
Yeah, that might be true too, but I also think that you got to give guys a little time. They just hired the dude.
No question. And I agree totally with you, Jeff. But right now, the New York Knicks as an organization, they don't have time to do this. Okay? This is a team that has been fiending for a playoff run. This team has been fiending for a good team. This team has not been good since, 4 or 5 years ago when they won 54 games. That was the last time. And I was speaking to Speedy yesterday about it. The last time I saw the Knicks win 50 games with Carmelo Anthony, when Carmelo Anthony won the scoring title and he should have been the MVP. But even before that, when were they good? 20 years ago? I mean, the Knicks have not been good. They haven't played good basketball for years. And I don't want to hear about Kristaps Porzingis because Kristaps Porzingis went to Dallas. And where is Dallas? Dallas is the 7th seed right now in the Western Conference. So that's not saying much. All right. So
do you think part of the Knicks' problem is geographical?
I think the problem right now with the New York Knicks as an organization is they just keep making the wrong choice on the GM. I really do. I mean, look at the GMs they've had.
Right, but they've had opportunities to get free agents, and free agents are, listen, say what you want. New York is a great city. I'm not saying anything bad about New York.
I know you're not.
But when you look at the destinations that players are choosing, Jimmy Butler's choosing Miami, LeBron's choosing LA, Kawhi's choosing LA, like they're all going.
You think they're all warm weather?
Right. Like, do you think that players more and more, because listen, the barrier has kind of come down where you're going to make more money in endorsements in New York thing has kind of gone away a little bit. Like, you're going to get endorsements if you're a star player anyways, and you're going to get the same contract wherever you go anyways. And I think that the tiebreaker is, do I want to wear shorts and ride my beach cruiser down the South Beach, or do I want to wear a huge parka and freeze my ass off in Midtown Manhattan?
Yeah, but New York has a lot of beaches, and I don't know how many times you've been to New York. I mean, Long Island, it's all beaches.
They're not there in the summer. They're not there in the summer.
Well, that's not true. Kevin
They're
Durant
there in the winter.
Well, Kevin Durant is here in the summertime. Carmelo Anthony hangs out in the summertime. LeBron James has a suite over there in New York City. Dwayne Wade lives over here in the summertime sometimes.
Right, but what I'm telling you is like the brutal months that they have to be at work, and I'm using the air quotes there. I mean, it's just nicer to be in LA or be in Miami or be in a warmer climate or California or something. Like,
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Like, no one's choosing Minnesota. No one ever chooses Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota's a small market place, and I'll tell you this right now, no matter how much anybody keep telling me that Karl Anthony Towns is going to stay there, I could tell you right now that Karl Anthony Towns will probably be traded in the offseason. They traded Andrew Wiggins, and I believe their next guy they're going to trade is Karl Anthony Towns. And I wouldn't be so surprised if D'Angelo Russell will be traded sometime in the offseason as well.
We may have a litmus test coming, though, right? Because Giannis is going to be a free agent. Does Giannis prefer warmer weather?
No, I think Giannis is probably going to stay with Milwaukee. I know
think
there's
so too, yeah.
There is rumors coming out that Golden State's going to make a big push for him.
I don't buy that.
But I can't see him going to Golden State. I could see him more staying with Milwaukee. I think he fits with Milwaukee, and I think he wants to win a championship for Milwaukee. He's got a lot of fans over there, and he's a big superstar over there.
He has also mentioned he doesn't really like the big cities either, so that'll help.
Not only people choosing
money
warm weather,
talks,
but like you just had a huge free agent class, and Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and yeah, I get it, they're not playing. We don't know what they're going to be. But both of those guys just chose Brooklyn over playing in Manhattan.
Well, I think here's what I think. I don't think Kyrie Irving, the New York Knicks were planning to bring in Kyrie Irving. And Kevin Durant, everything that I've heard through the people that I know that work for the organization, the Knicks didn't even offer him a contract.
I think they were also a package deal, too. So I think once they didn't want Kyrie Irving, it made it less of a priority for Kevin Durant to want to go there because it seemed like for a while they were a package deal.
I don't think the Knicks wanted to pay Kevin Durant the money that he wanted with an Achilles tendon, the way he ripped it in the championship game. So in game number 7. So I understand what you're saying, and maybe it's geographic. I don't think it is geographic. I think it has a lot to do with the GM and the way this team is built.
No. I'm just saying one element of it.
It could be.
That's part of
course. There could be a lot of elements on why teams and players.
It's just solely based on cold weather versus warm weather.
I
but,
think
I think there's a lot of things that play into it. Like, there is instability in the GM position and at the coach position. And the owner is just completely unhinged and can't get anything right. And they have so many other issues, but I also think the cold weather hurts them a little bit.
I think the cold weather is something. I don't think it's really anything big. I mean, I look at the New York Knicks right now. They're a losing organization, and players see that, and they don't have any players they could build around except R.J. Barrett as of right now. Now, if R.J. Barrett becomes a star, which you heard James Harden yesterday after the game, he says, this kid's going to be a star. If they have a player of that magnitude that players want to come and play, Zion Williamson, I do not believe will want to stay with the Pelicans in a couple of years. I think he's going to want to flee New Orleans because I just don't think that team is any good. They're better than the Knicks right now.
Are you already kind of giving up on Kevin Knox? Or
no, I'm not at all.
RJ Barrett the only guy?
No, I'm not giving up on Kevin Knox, but Kevin Knox has a lot of work to do in the offseason, and I think Robinson, who's played better in certain aspects of his game, I think he's got a lot of weaknesses that he needs to work on in the offseason. His foul shooting is one of them, and his outside game. He needs to learn how to shoot at least a 17, 18-foot jumper. If he doesn't do that, he's not going to be a successful player in the NBA as a big man. He's a good defensive player.
No, I get it, but players sometimes take a little time. I mean, I know a couple of people that were ripping Jason Tatum because, he wasn't taking steps forward and he wasn't improving. Bam, all of a sudden Jason Tatum, and now in his third year, is a superstar in this league.
It usually takes 3 or 4 years for a guy to really develop. And Robinson, this is his second year, and this is Knox's second year. I don't think Knox is Tatum, but I could see Knox being a 15, 16-point guy off the bench or be a guy that you could put at small forward. I could see him that 16 and 8.
But he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be Jason Tatum on that team, though. He only needs to be Malcolm Brogdon.
No, I agree.
As far as production, I didn't mean as far as position.
No, I understand what you're saying. What worries me about the New York Knicks is if knowing that they have a player of R.J. Barrett's talent, are they going to build around him? Or are they going to do the same thing they did with KP? He becomes a free agent. He decides to flee, and they go back to square one again. This is going to be the talk.
But again, don't you think part of the KP thing was management and ownership?
No, I think it has a lot to do with his brother. I think his brother got too involved with the New York Knicks organization because he thought that the New York Knicks were inept, and he thought he can come right under James Dolan and the way the organization was run and try to get a position with the New York Knicks. The Knicks were not going to give him a position, and that pissed off KP. And another thing that pissed off KP was the whole Hornacek thing and the Hernan Gomez thing. God, yeah. So I think that's what really scared off KP, and that's why he's gone. That's why he's playing for Dallas. And you want to know something? As much as I think KP is a good player, and we know he's a good player, good riddance. Because to me, if you have a player demanding things when he hasn't won anything, he hasn't done anything for the organization, I don't want him with the organization. So you're right.
Isn't that most of the players in the NBA now?
No, that's not. No, you see R.J. Barrett going over there right now and saying, "Well, I want this player."
Not right now. I'm saying when they're close to free agency.
Are you hearing Zion Williamson saying anything right now?
It's his first year in the league.
He's a great player.
No, I know. I'm talking about when he's close to being a free agent. I feel like a lot of players do that anyway.
Jimmy Butler, do you hear him saying players he wants to play with? He wants a player to play with. I haven't heard anything with Jimmy Butler. Kyrie Irving,
Who knows what he's thinking?
No, well, he thinks the Earth is flat. I mean, the guy's
but
brain is flat.
Yeah, but you want to know you can't really judge the Jimmy Butler thing right now because let's face facts, man. Pat Riley is a genius in convincing people to come there and then saying, just come here, wait a season, and then I'll build around you. You never know what Pat Riley has up his sleeve, man.
No, and I think
they've been even better than expected this year.
And it annoys me that the Knicks let Pat Riley go when he wanted to become the GM of the organization. That was another James Dolan thing. And it wasn't James Dolan, it was James Dolan's father, who didn't want Pat Riley as the GM of the organization at the particular time. And that's why Pat Riley went to Miami and Jeff Van Gundy. Now, they have a chance next year to bring in a coach of their choosings. There's 3 big candidates that I've been saying over and over again. Tom Thibodeau being number 1, my number 1 target. My number 2 target would probably be Mark Jackson. My number 3 would be Jeff Van Gundy. All 3 of these guys are New York-born players, all guys that want to coach the New York Knicks, and three guys that have been successful as coaches in the NBA. So, to me, that should be the number one thing the New York Knicks do in the offseason is pick the right guy. Don't pick the wrong guy. Don't bring this guy Miller back because he's right now coaching very, very well, and the Knicks are winning and they have 19 wins. When he took over for Fizdale, I think they had 7. He's won.
Fizdale was 4-18, and then Miller since then has been 15-24.
So there you go. He's done better than Fizdale. Now Miller could stay on as an assistant coach. I just don't think he's a head coach in this league. You need to bring in a guy that has won. And I'm not talking about winning championships, has won, gotten his team into the players or brought his team to the playoffs, and has really drove players to come and play for him. And I think all 3 of those candidates would be big-time guys to bring in to try to draw some of these free agents to come and play for him. So it's so crazy right now where the Knicks are, and I don't know what's going to happen with him. I don't think Spike Lee is going to be away with the New York Knicks that long. I think
he said he's not going back the rest of the season.
Yeah, he'll be back next year. Because it'll all be cleared up next year. He'll be back, and you'll see him with the Brooklyn Nets. You'll absolutely see them in Brooklyn, him in Brooklyn right now, because he's going to try to stick it up the of the New York Knicks. Because that's the way Spike Lee is. He likes to be. He has a vendetta against somebody. He's gonna use his vendetta against the organization to try to prove a point. But again, I don't blame James Dolan on this whole predicament. Now, do I blame?
I mean, as a Boston fan, you just hate to see it.
No, I know you're a Boston fan. I know you're a pain in the ass. How about your Boston Bruins? They're playing good hockey right now.
Yeah, well, see, they're in Tampa tonight.
Yeah, well, they're playing good hockey. They took care of the New York Islanders last week. They've taken care of the Rangers. I mean, they've looked really, really good. And 2 teams that are playoff teams right now. And I think Boston has been one of the hottest teams, really, in the last 10 games. I've been very impressed with their defense and their goaltending. And they're not scoring as many goals as you would expect them to, especially with the talent that they have. But they're playing good hockey.
They got some help. They got some help at the trade deadline. Andre Kasha should help.
Yeah, they have a good team, and I do believe they're going to be a Stanley Cup competitive team again this year. I wouldn't be so surprised if they're in the Stanley Cup Finals again this year.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly could be. I mean, they have the talent to be there. They're in first place, but we all saw what happened to the first place team last year.
Yep, You're absolutely right. Jeff, thank you for calling, my friends.
I mean, it just is what it is with hockey. It's hockey. It don't even matter. You could have a 82 game season or you could have an 8 game season. It don't matter. It's just about what goalie is going to get hot in the playoffs, and it doesn't even need to be a good team. You get the right hot goalie, and you're going to go far.
And that's the great thing about hockey. It really, the last week of hockey, you really see who's going to be good and who's not going to be good going into the playoffs. And that's what
and who will be
you
the
saw.
New breakthroughs of the wild
Well,
cards
you saw that
still.
with St. Louis. St.
Right.
Louis in the second half of the season, they were as good as any team in hockey because of their goaltending, and they went all the way to Stanley Cup Finals and then surprised the world winning the Stanley Cup.
But even just looking at the teams that went pretty far as wild cards too last year, all 4 wild cards won their first round game, and the Hurricanes went all the way to the East Finals. There's a lot of underdogs, so it's not going to be easy necessarily just because you're a favorite.
It's going to be really, really fun to watch.
And the game changes, though. I don't think you really get – even in 82 games, I don't think you get – in hockey, you get a good sense of what a team is because the game changes. It becomes far more physical, and the refs let a lot more things go in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. So it's like I don't even know if you know what kind of team you have until the playoffs start.
Well, you know if you have a good goaltender and you have good defense, you'll have a chance to win every single game. You need a goal scorer that's going to score goals in big parts of the game. The Islanders had Tavares. He left. He went to Toronto. I don't know who the other guy is, and we didn't see him last year in the playoffs.
But every team has also other guys that step up.
The Rangers have Panarin.
A top line of scoring and be able to get away with it either.
The Rangers have Panarin. They have Zibanejad. They have guys that could score goals in the playoffs. We've seen him score goals for Ottawa. We saw Panarin score for Chicago. We've seen these guys, the Blue Jackets. So we've seen these guys be successful in the playoffs. The question is, and I know what you're going to say, Jeff, and we don't know, and that's what's great about hockey, and that's why I think the NHL playoffs are the best to watch.
But that's the truth of the matter. It doesn't matter if you have a good goalie or if you have goal scorers because Tampa had all of that sort of stuff. But what they also had on their team was a whole group full of pussies because what happened was Columbus went in and beat them up, and all of these goal scorers and all these great people and everything weren't tough enough
Right.
to be able to play the more physical brand of hockey in the playoffs. The Blue Jackets bullied them in that first round.